I'm Millicent Walker. Tonight, Senate demands resignation of Controller General of Customs, retired Colonel Hamid Ali, declares him unfit to hold any public office. Triple suicide bomb attack kills 7 people at an internally displaced persons camp in Maiduguri, Borno State. And after a 3-day intensive search, Marine Police in Lagos recover body of Dr. Olwell Orji, a medical doctor who jumped off the 3rd mainland bridge into the Lagos Lagoon. 4 people, including a police officer, killed in an attack near the UK Parliament building in central London. And in business news tonight, National Assembly approves President Buhari's request to issue additional $500 million Eurobond to fund 2016 budget deficit.
And on sports news tonight, Lagos club MFM go top of the Nigeria Professional Football League as kid sensation Stephen Otis scores 12th goal of the season.
And from Abuja, trial of Senate President Bukola Saraki for alleged false declaration of assets continues. Code of Conduct Bureau's witness admits not having a formal report of investigation.
We begin the news tonight from Abuja, where the Senate has declared the Controller General of Customs, retired Colonel Hamid Ali, unfit to hold any public office and have asked him to resign. This declaration follows the Customs CG's failure to appear before the lawmakers today. Our correspondent Linda Akigwe reports.
Federal lawmakers are behind this closed doors discussing the controversy generated by the Senate's invitation of the Comptroller General of Customs to appear at plenary on Wednesday attired in the Customs uniform.
Please allow me to say what
Nearly 2 hours later, the Senate chamber is open for Nigerians to view the proceedings. At this point, it is apparent that the Customs Comptroller General, retired Colonel Hamid Ali, will not be making an appearance in uniform or otherwise. The Senate clerk reads a letter from the Attorney General of the Federation affirming the absence of a Customs Comptroller General.
In line with the principles of rule of law, court decisions, and most importantly, the declarations sought have been deeply rooted in the constitutional provisions. I hold the view that this matter is sub judice.
And that set off lawmakers.
What we have is not a court injunction, is not a court order. And you want us, because somebody rushed to court, to file a process. Then we should abandon our constitutional responsibility.
This is gross impunity, and there is no other way to describe what is on ground between the main issue of an obnoxious policy, the fact that there is an arrogant display of ignorance by the CG of Customs.
The debate was also an avenue for lawmakers to express their frustration with the presidency.
The vice president was made acting president for about 59 days. Did you hear about Niger Delta Avengers? Did you hear about Fulani Hezmen for the 59 days? But for the simple now, this just 2 weeks, the president is back. And the people surrounding the president are creating tension in the country.
The exasperation of lawmakers was expressed in the kind of resolutions passed.
That the Senate do hereby declare the Comptroller General of Customs as unfit to hold public office. The Senate hereby calls for his resignation from office.
Beyond the cat and mouse game between the Senate and the Comptroller General of Customs, the Senate passed a resolution addressing the matter at the heart of invitation of the Customs CG, and that is that the upper chamber has asked the Customs Comptroller General to outrightly cancel the retrospective policy on import duties on vehicles. Linda Akibe, Channels Television News.
7 persons have been confirmed killed following multiple explosions in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. It was gathered that the blast occurred earlier today at about 4 o'clock at an internally displaced people's camp located at Muna Garage. According to police commissioner in the state, the attacks were staged by suicide bombers in 3 different locations, setting off an inferno which burned down many of the tents used by the IDPs.
3 died at this location, the suicide bomber and 2 others. In a second location in the same neighborhood, 2 died. That is the suicide bomber and 1 other. At the 3rd location, the suicide bomber and 1 other. So altogether we have 7 deaths, including the suicide bombers, and then about 18 of them injured. But they are all responded to treatment at the Maiduguri Specialist Hospital.
And staying with security, recent operations by the Department of State Services seem to indicate some progress against suspected criminal elements in the country. According to the DSS, this has resulted in the arrest of a suspected Boko Haram kingpin in Ekiti State, with other members of the group caught in Nasarawa, Kogi, Yobe, Kano, Bauchi and Kaduna states. The spokesperson of the DSS, Tonio Puyo, says some alleged notorious kidnappers in Niger and Kaduna states have also been nabbed. After 3 days of intensive search, the body of Dr. Orwell Orji, the medical doctor who jumped off the Adekunle Adeniji Adele end of the 3rd mainland bridge into the Lagos Lagoon, has been discovered. The Lagos State Commissioner of Police, who revealed this to newsmen, said that Dr. Orji's body was discovered today by officers of the Marine Police at about 4 p.m. around the CMS area of the lagoon. Mr. Awusheni said the body was identified by the driver and a member of the late doctor's family. The body of Dr. Orji has been taken to a mortuary for autopsy.
For us to be sure, we have called the driver who was with him when the incident happened, and of course his younger brother who had been with us, Austin Orji, and they've positively identified the body to be that of Dr. Orwell Brand. As the practice, we continue with our investigation to do all the other necessary things before the body can be released to the family. You know, the thing happened towards in the lagoon towards Adekunle area, but as usual with tidal wave, it has moved the body. That would be like almost how many kilometers away? About 7. That should be about 7 kilometers away from the main spot of the incident.
So how long will it take before you hand over the body to the family?
As soon as we concluded the autopsy and the need for examination that should be carried out, we'll do that.
The Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, has described the recent arrests of some judges on account of bribery allegations as a constitutional mandate. In an exclusive interview with our correspondent Benga Ashiru, the AGF denied widespread allegations of vendetta in ordering the arrests. While on the issue of Ibrahim Magu remaining in charge of the EFCC, in spite of his rejection by the Senate, the Chief Law Officer of the nation says it is within the President's prerogative to determine his status.
When there exists on the ground facts pointing to a direction of criminality, I think no other consideration should hold water as it relates to vendetta. More so, the arrest or invasion or perhaps what I call investigation relating to judicial officers was not in any way particular about individual. It was all encompassing, and then at the end of the day, revelations were made as it relates to commission of offense. Issues that borders on money laundering, monies were found in excess of the tolerable limit. Issues that borders on illegal possession of weapons were equally addressed as it relates to that particular case. The truth of the matter, I have to clearly say, was an issue that borders on similar allegations of criminality. And then there was a case I was handling before him that borders on, that has to do with the importation of fertilizer by a certain company. One of the company happened to be my client. And then arising from that, my client filed an application. There was an application on the other side for the sale, attachment and sale of the fertilizer, and I filed a response by way of counter affidavit to the application. That application was taken, and Justice Ademola dismissed the application of the parties on the other side as it relates to the attachment and sale of the fertilizer. In all sincerity, certain undertones relating to compromises on my part set into the process after the dismissal of the application.
Now the confirmation of the acting EFCC chairman has been rejected twice, but he is saying that he is still in charge of the EFCC, pending the time the presidency says otherwise. So what is the status quo of his continuous stay in office as the acting chairman?
Again, the background of the constitutional right of the president as it relates to the appointment or otherwise of the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, I wouldn't like to preempt the position of the presidency over that.
Well, to get all the details with the Attorney General, do watch Question Time tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. on DSTV, channel 254, and 20:30 hours on our UK platform, channel Sky 575, and of course tomorrow at a repeat broadcast on Sunday, 10:30 a.m. As the world marks Water Day with the theme, Why Waste Water?, groups in Lagos have staged a protest requesting the state government to back down on its decision to privatize water infrastructure in the state. The leadership of the groups claims less than 20% of Lagosians have access to potable water, and therefore privatization would make them suffer more.
Some human and environment rights societies attempting to gain access to the office of the Governor of Lagos State to present their concerns on the Lagos Environment Law as it relates to the provision of water. They meet some resistance, but are insistent the state governor must hear them out since the case borders on the welfare of the people.
We cannot criminalize the people who go about looking for water. And that is what the state tried to do to the people, to the citizens of Lagos State. And we are saying no, it is wrong in every ramification, in every form.
So we are talking about resisting efforts to privatize water and to make the poor to pay for access to water, rather than making the rich who benefit more from this water and can afford it to be the ones to bear the burden of provision of water.
The Environment Commissioners-led team shows up instead to address the protesters.
Water Corporation cannot fund itself because we are not selling water like that. It's a social thing, and we are ready to do it as a government. But what we are saying is this: the money we have cannot build all the water treatment plants we have for us. And we've got to have them. And we will deliver your message to His Excellency.
Some of the requests made include setting up of Water Trust Fund in Lagos.
They should make adequate provision for that sector. They should probe past administration that has misused funds for the past 16 years in that sector. They should go into what is called PUP, public partnership. They should go into friendly relationship with other cities or governments around the world that are managing their utility for technical assistance and every other assistance that they may need.
Over 1 billion people are believed to have no access to potable water in the world, which poses grave danger to healthcare systems. It therefore would make a lot of sense if the slogan, water, water everywhere but none to drink, is reversed for once for Lagosians. Chris Illems, Channels Television News.
And in part two, after the break, women groups hold protest march in Abeokuta against gender-based violence. Governor Amosun seeks stricter punishment for perpetrators. Stay with us.